What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So we are back with another season of Bachelor in Paradise, back after a year off last year, a little year off hiatus, kind of changing some things about the show, get a new showrunner, kind of change the look, the feel of the show, new location as well in Costa Rica. And let me just say, after one episode, you can tell the difference a year off makes. Absolutely love the new look, the new vibe of the show after one episode of Bachelor in Paradise here. But we do still have host Jesse Palmer back with everyone's favorite bartender as well, Wells Adams. And then a new addition to the hosting cast for Bachelor in Paradise this year is a fan favorite in Hannah Brown, serving as somewhat of a Paradise liaison of sorts. Supposed to be, I guess, helping with dates or helping give advice, kind of like what Wells does at the bar front. But excited to have Hannah joining this hosting cast as well. One of my favorite, members of Bachelor Nation, and obviously, a successful individual that has came from the franchise. So I think she can give some good advice to the contestants out here on the beaches of Paradise. But we're going to jump right into season 10 of Bachelor in Paradise. But before we do, if you could just hit that like and subscribe button down there. We'll have more Bachelor in Paradise content on the channel all season long. But if you are new here, we do this after every single episode, recap every single episode throughout the whole season of Bachelor in Paradise, Bachelor, Bachelorette, you name it, a bunch of other shows we do this for on the channel as well. So just make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a video. So we get a quick preview of the season, kind of fast, going through some images of the season, see some rings, see some money, and lots of Paradise-like activities. So really the money portion is, I think, something that could be new with Paradise this year that I assume we'll explore as we get into the season here. But Spencer is the first to arrive from Jen's season. Our pet photographer did like him on Jen's season as well. He's the first out of the cars onto the beaches of Paradise. Next up, Alex, our Canadian from Grant's season. Left her no drama llama at home, though. But Lexi is next up from Joey's season. Immediately says Spencer is her type. So we'll see if anything comes of that. But however, Spencer is yapping nonstop, and Alex and Lexi do take note of that right away. But Jeremy pulls up on the beach from Jen's season, and he arrives with everyone's favorite medium king in Jonathan, also from Jen's season. Bailey is next up from Grant's season, and as she said, the bob is retired and the braids are hired. Hakeem is on the beach, a lover of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Love Hakeem, think he is absolutely hilarious. Hope this works out for him here on the beaches of Paradise this summer. But Jeremy and Bailey have a chat, seem to kick everything off good. Jess from Joey's season arrives on a boat. She immediately clocks Spencer as potential interest. She did have him at the top of her list coming in as well. But they have a combo and seem to click pretty well. Kyle might not remember him, but he was from Katie's season. Obviously, that was a handful of years ago. Zoe from Grant's season arrives. Ricky from Jen's season arrives. And Alex thinks that he's her type. Brian from Jen's season is up next as well. And Kat is back after getting engaged last time on Bachelor in Paradise. But so that's kind of all the arrivals right here, day one. If you have been subscribed to the channel, we did kind of do a preview and talk about everyone who we knew was going to be announced. Some haven't been announced just yet, too. So that's why that was kind of short, just going over everyone that came in to the Paradise beaches right off the bat here. But Jesse joins the group to chat. Wells is here. Hannah is here, introduced to the group. The ladies have the roses first this week, and we'll be deciding who is going home. But introducing chemistry tests as well to help find the perfect person. And I like this. I think this is also part of the new format as well, to see, who you really vibe with and, doing these different compatibility tests. I've heard it called on different interviews as well. So I'm excited to see that element added into Paradise as well. But with the hope to offer a life-changing opportunity at the end. And as Jesse says, more on that later, as everyone is kind of like, can you elaborate a little more? But they go find their rooms in the resorts, and, well, hold up one second. There's a vehicle coming down the beach. It's Justin, back for another go-around of Bachelor in Paradise. Third time's the charm, obviously, and then if you follow him outside of the franchise as well, obviously he did date fellow Bachelor Nation member Susie for about a year or so, and they had just broke up not too long ago, so something of note coming into this journey for Justin here. But Lexi seems interested immediately, and she's curious if he's healed from that relationship with Susie, as we just mentioned. But Alex and Ricky seem to hit it off well in their combo. And Jesse is back again with a date card for Justin. It's dinner and a night swim. He chats with Lexi, have a really good talk about dating in their 30s and, a life timeline, etc. Bailey and Kyle seem to have a pretty good chat as well, but it seems like the bugs are out tonight, though, in Paradise, something that the contestants are not too thrilled about. Jonathan and Kat do have a nice conversation as well, but he reminds her of her exes, and she doesn't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Spencer and Jess talk about some past trauma in their relationships and really get deep pretty quickly, and Justin asks Lexi to go on the date. Spencer and Jess really hit it off, as we said in their conversation. They go for a walk on the beach holding hands, and they share the first kiss of paradise as well, Spencer and Jess. And I'm sorry, Jess, smoochy poo. My bad. But, a little thunderstorm on night one, and unfortunately it rains out Justin and Lexi's date, but it will be rescheduled. After they both got all dressed up too, it's like, dang, is there not a lobby bar or something you can set up a makeshift date at? But we move forward to day 2 of Paradise. Jonathan and Kat, Brian and Zoe, Spencer and Jess so far seem like the early connections after one day on the beaches of Paradise here. And then, of course, Justin and Lexi, who had their date canceled last night as well. Hakeem pulls Bailey as, she's who he is most interested in, as he said. But Bailey says, he's so attentive and thoughtful, but she's not really interested. Bo pulls up, and it's the one and only Dale Moss, a blast from the past from Claire's season of The Bachelorette, and then everyone and their mother is interested in Dale. Jesse shows up with a date card for Dale for an afternoon cruise on the yacht that he just showed up in. Zoe pulls Dale first to shoot her shot, see if there's any connection there. Dale pulls Alex and Kat for a chat as well, and apparently Kat loves a man over 35 because they're more sleepy. Dale asks Kat to go on the date. Dale and Kat head off on their catamaran date, and Dale is struggling with the champagne. Probably the only thing he struggles with, maybe. But back at the resort, Jonathan and Alex have a chat, and Jonathan describes her as that middle school crush that you have. I guess kind of that giddy feeling that you have. And Zoe is vibing with Brian, but is still interested in Dale as well. And obviously, it's still early on, so still kind of open. But Kat is not enjoying the catamaran ride as much as she thought, as she felt like she was going to get sick. But however, she pulls it through, and her and Dale share a kiss as well after having a conversation and connecting there. But the crew start to bring in big cutouts back at the resort, and it's the first informational exercise, and they have to use stickers of themselves to match with quotes of contestants that are on the beach so far. Ricky calls Hakeem vanilla for some of his answers that he gave. They get into a shouting match essentially in front of everyone. I don't really know. Kind of just really, really pointless. And especially you're only not even a full 2 days in, and having a shouting match like that just didn't really get the whole point of that or the reason behind it, besides being called vanilla on both sides, but didn't really get that. But turns everyone off too, but they reveal who the cutouts were, and surprise, the last one is a newcomer, and it is Sam from Jen's season, and wondering if he'll still be keeping the main thing, but he gets a date card when he comes in as well, pulls Jess for a chat. Justin gets to talk with Hannah Brown about the missed date from yesterday, and she's like, I got you. Don't worry. Jeremy and Bailey seem to be both interested, and they go for a walk on the beach. They share a kiss as well. And then Sam does ask Jess on the date. Poor Spencer, but hopefully it goes bad for Spencer's sake. Bailey tells Kyle that she's not made her decision and is still open between him and Jeremy. Alex says the same basically to Ricky about him and Jonathan. They actually kiss as well, so don't count yourself out, Ricky. But Jess and Sam are in the middle of the jungle on their date, ritual cleanse of sorts, and Jess is thinking about Spencer, she says, during the date, but says that there is some sparks there with Sam. Brian and Zoe have a nice little setup, looking up at the stars on the beach. They share their first kiss as well. Back on the date, Jess and Sam share some fears. They share a kiss as well, which is Spencer's fear. But just aside to the editing and the feel of this new Paradise, as I kind of mentioned at the top, so refreshing and new. I absolutely love it so far. But Jeremy and Bailey pick right up where they left off on the beach from earlier in the day, and boy howdy, not sure that kiss was so PG-13 on a family network like ABC. I'm not sure Kyle enjoyed watching that either, but We move forward to day 3 of Paradise, and it's rose ceremony day. Couple of love triangles going as well. Finally, Justin and Lexi get to go have their date. Justin tells Lexi about Susie and kind of everything that happened there, and she just wants to make sure that he's healed from that. So the elephant has left the room for Lexi and Justin. So hopefully they can continue to just get to know each other and see if they're a match. So the cocktail party begins, and there will be 4 guys going home after the rose ceremony. Justin has all of his eggs in Lexi's basket, but she is nervous because of him dating Susie so recently and him, saying that they're still friends, the relationship just ending not too long ago. So she is nervous about it there. And her ex, she said, was a similar situation, so she doesn't know if she should be exploring someone else. Jess and Spencer validate her, her feelings are valid, and, to do what she pleases and, pursue who she wants. And, if she wants to pursue someone else, those feelings are valid. And, she just doesn't know if she wants to be involved, with someone who just got out of a relationship like that, just a couple months prior. I think like she was going through the timeline, like what did they break up in February? And it was like May when they're filming this. So that's definitely understandable from Lexi's perspective. Alex is conflicted and feels that Jonathan hasn't put in much effort, and she kind of calls him out, asks him about it a little bit, and they end up talking it out, and he's like, no, I am interested, like, they just kind of talk it out, just different ways to approach it, as Alex kind of says. But Wells breaks down the beach pretty well, where everyone's at or how everyone's going about this, and really liked how he described Jess's situation as, her heart's saying Sam, but her head is saying stay with the golden retriever who looks like Clark Kent in Spencer. Hakeem is struggling a little bit, unfortunately, and the fact that Jeremy is talking to Hannah Brown about not wanting to pigeonhole himself into all of his eggs in one basket with one girl, basically, whilst he looks like Hannah Brown's ex and Jed, who we all know that story, is definitely a sight to behold. But we won't hold that over him just yet, but that was definitely something we mentioned on Jen's season as well. But cocktail party is over, so it's time to get to the rose ceremony. Lexi does choose Justin. Zoe chooses Brian. Kat chooses Dale. Jess does choose Spencer. Bailey chooses Jeremy. And Alex chooses Jonathan. So that means Ricky, Sam, Hakeem, and Kyle will be leaving the beaches of Paradise. Jesse says, if you think you know how Paradise works, everything is about to change. We get the season preview, and oh my, was that Susie? So just adding fire right into the Justin and Lexi of it all, and Lexi's kind of fears, if they're still friends, or them having just broken up not too long ago. So that looks like it's going to be thrown in there. We see Susie actually a couple times in the preview, or at least twice, I believe, in a different part. The Goldens coming in, and oh boy, do they look ready to party. And of course, some drama and more love triangles seem to be forming, as usually happens on the beaches of Paradise. But a lot of tears and some Emmy-winning performances, apparently. So looking forward to seeing all of that play out. And then, oh yeah, $500,000? I'm sorry, what? I'm assuming that will be some of the different changes to Paradise coming this summer, and an engagement ring as well. So it looks like we're in for a really fun and dramatic summer, as we usually are here on the beaches of Paradise. But favorite couples so far, probably Spencer and Jess. And I think Alex and Jonathan, even though maybe not as strong, out of the gates right now, I love them both as individuals, and I like them as a couple if they can, continue to grow and they end up being a match. And same for Spencer and Jess. But I'm excited. Like I said a couple times throughout this, I really like the new feel, the look of how Paradise is too. And I definitely think that year off was needed. And with the new showrunner and everything. And I hope things are kind of running more smoothly. I mean, there's always going to be drama. That's what, the franchise is about, but just hope, at the end of the day, it's, still, we want to see people at the end of the day fall in love. And, we have seen that, the last, couple years, there's been a lot of successful couples coming out of, Bachelor, Bachelorette, and really in the past, a couple seasons ago, I forget, was it season 7? I think it was, with, Joe and Serena, and Abigail and Noah, and Kenny and Mari. I mean, it was a really successful season. It might not have been 7, it might have been 6, whatever year that was. I mean, that was an incredibly successful season of Paradise. So hopefully this season of Paradise can have some similar results to that. And if it is, then Paradise did its job. But anyway, just from the preview, it looks like it's going to be a very fun summer of Paradise. And like I said, the new vibes, look of the show, definitely knocked it out of the park for episode 1. But anyway, that'll do it for this one. As I said, we will be back every single week after every single episode. Next week, I believe we will be having 2 episodes. I believe there will be an episode. They kind of released the calendar for the beginning of the season. I believe Monday will be normal episode, like always on Monday. But then I believe Tuesday we will have a special episode, and I believe that is the one that they marked on the calendar that the Golden Bachelor and Bachelorette will be coming in. So I think we're in for 2 episodes next week, but just make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a video. But that'll do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.